In the heart of the Mission District in San Francisco sits Southpaw Bar and Grill. With its gourmet menu and extensive drink list, it is no wonder why Southpaw regularly serves over 1,000 patrons per week. Uniquely, in addition to a full bar, Southpaw brews small batches of their own craft beer. The three metal cylinders seen here principal to the brewing operation are comprised of the mesh kettle, the boil kettle, fermentation tank, and storage tank. On the brewer's recipe sheet for today is barley wine. But don't let the name fool you. Made with hops, yeast, and barley, this is still very much a beer. Dark and malty in nature, barley wine typically contains between 8 and 12% alcohol by volume. The entire brewing process starts with the malt, also known as malted barley. The barley in these bags is sourced from various farms in Northern California and is then malted and sold from a central location in San Leandro, California. Pumps are connected to all three cylinders to help fill and move liquid product. 75 gallons of water is first pumped into the upper part of the first cylinder, known as the mesh kettle. Once the water is heated to 155 degrees Fahrenheit, the malt is added. For this particular batch, we are using approximately 300 pounds of malt to produce approximately 75 gallons of beer. Typically, the higher the ratio of malt to water, the stronger and more alcoholic the beer will be. The malt is steeped in the hot water for 1 hour. The lower portion of the cylinder, known as the boil kettle, is cleaned and prepped. The product of the hot water and malt, known as wort, is transferred from the upper mash kettle to the lower boil kettle. Today, in a cross-collaboration, a brewer from a local hard apple cider company has come by to exchange some of his unfinished product for some of Southpaw's wort. The liquid gravity is checked, which is a good indicator of the potential alcohol by volume content. Once the lower kettle is full, the hatch is closed and the wort is boiled for 90 minutes. It's during this stage of the brewing process that the hops are added. Like the malt, the hops are California grown and sourced from a distributor in San Leandro. Approximately 3 pounds are all that is needed for this particular batch of barley wine. CO2 is added to both the second tank, known as the fermentation tank, as well as the third tank, known as the holding tank. This is done to both carbonate the beer as well as rid the cylinders of any oxygen which may spoil the fermentation process. The last ingredient added before the wort is transferred to the fermentation tank is a small amount of brewer's yeast. As the brewing process begins to wrap up, the mesh kettle is cleaned. The used malt is collected into bins and donated to local farms for livestock feed. All surrounding areas are thoroughly hosed off and sanitized. After 3 to 4 weeks, the fermenting wort has officially become beer and will be ready to drink.